What a great event. The organizers really know how to put a great event together. Give them a big round of applause. Thank you. How is everyone doing today? Good. I got to tell you, I put a disclaimer out there. Long time ago, I've been teaching for Boston University. So every time I go up on the staircase into a stage, the teacher in me wakes up. If it is not interactive, I sort of hit a mental block. There is a lot of packed event. You don't want to be just staring at me having a mental block for the rest of the day. I'm just throwing it out there. How is everyone doing today? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get started. Wow. What 2 years have the disruptions that really brought us into it, right? Every one of us went through so much disruptions in the last 2 years. It hit us, hit our family, friends, teams, company, business, all over, right? We never thought we would deal with this kind of disruption ever in our lifetime, and here we are. Actually, this is my first live conference in the last 2 years. I never attended one physically for the last 2 years. All of them has been virtual. I'm so excited to be here. But there is one thing that this disruption really taught us. There is one thing. It is just to learn that we have to be future ready all the time. The future is not tomorrow. The future is not after lunch. The future is not after dinner either. The future is right now. Now is the future. So how do we make sure we are future ready? As a company, are we future ready? Is the workforce that we have right now is the workforce that you need? That's the $1 million question. That's exactly why all of you are here. While you paddle through that question a little bit, Skillsoft as a company did all this research around skilling. What really skilling means. We sort of broke them into two facades. One of them, possessing a skill. Possessing a skill really means having the ability to do something well, really well. It doesn't stop there. We also have to have another facade. That means being skilled. Being skilled is the ability to make an impact, make a difference, make a business, make the disruption for the business. So when you talk about getting the workforce ready for future skilling, you also have to make sure they possess the skill. But what is even more important is how do you make sure they are really being skilled? Those are the two really aspects you need to consider as part of getting your skills or your workforce skill for the future. This is no-brainer. We never thought we would be in the situation maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Skills continues and will remain the more important aspect than the number of years of experience. We've been dealing with day in, day out today, and this is continued to persist all through the years to come. With that all being said, we are talking about skilling in terms of the context of workforce. The previous, really, when the debate it happens, they talked about how do you really skill our workforce, right? You got to really put them into our workforce strategy as well. And if your best talent will leave, if you're not investing on their skills, it's pretty obvious. So really the key problem we are dealing with is how can you really stay ahead when you feel like you're always behind? You try to move one step forward, you just go back by 2 steps. And that is the world we are living in. So Skillsoft really work with World Economic Forum. Try to understand, before we talk about how do we help our customers, how do we really help the business out there upskilling our employees, really trying to identify what is going to be the top 10 roles and the top 10 skills for future. This future is not too far out. We are talking about 2025. While we are talking about the research, while we are talking about the analysis, there are 2 things I want to highlight for you to paddle through. One of them, my friends, 50% of the employee, based on our analysis, we found out needs reskilling by 2025. That's half of the workforce out there. Keep that in mind. That's a lot of people we need to reskill. Number 2, when you really talk to the business leaders, 94% of the business leaders expect employees to learn new skills on the job. I repeat, the upskilling has to happen on the job, not on a conference, not on a training, not on a degree. The upskilling, the whole upskilling has to happen on the job. That's the expectation from 94% of the business leaders. Those really plays the way how we upskill our employees, right? That's where the work strategy have to work through. If you really look at the top 10 roles, there shouldn't be any surprise. I'm just going to go through in not any specific order. It includes data analytics, AI machine learning, big data, digital marketing, process automation, Professional automation, because it's just all around the manufacturing as well. Business development, digital transformation, information security, IoT, and obviously software and app developers. If you really look at the top 10 skills that's going to dominate in 2025, you have a list of them. Primarily analytical problem solving, critical thinking, innovation, using technology to monitor things. How do you develop technologies? Resilience, stress tolerance, reasoning. This will be the top 10 skills for future. That's just 3 years away. We really have to work through a framework, and skilling is not a one-time event. That's the obvious learner. You just cannot have a skilling mela for a day, for a week, for a month, and a year and be done with that. This is just an ongoing progress, ever-going, repeating process. You really have to work through a framework. Skillsoft, what we've been doing, working with our customers, which is 70% of the Fortune 1000 customers. We also have 200 plus enterprise customers based in India. We also work with World Economic Forum. We also work with Burning Glass, MIT, and all of our customers, most importantly, our users and learners, trying to really put together a repetitive framework that we can apply for any business to grow. So what this really framework means? There are 6 different aspects of these frameworks. As a business, we need to identify, based on all this data, what is going to be your top priority skills that you want to focus for right now and for future. You got to help identify the skills that's very priority for your organization. Once you have your top priority skills identified, you got to be able to build a baseline. You need to know where your company really fall into, what the gaps are, and then the centerpiece of this home framework is, how do we really bridge those gaps? How do we really grow our people? That's the centerpiece. And then the whole framework cannot just operate all just business focused. It has to be around the learners. It's very, very important. We got to get our learner inspired to stay on track so that they can upskill. I generally think skilling is sharpening the knife. It has to be kept sharp. However much upskilling is important, reskilling is even more important, right? It's very, very important. You have to be able to have the ability to reinforce learning. That's just a very important pillar of this whole skills framework. And last but not least, we need to be able to understand how do we measure the skill gain over the time. Those are what we call the 6 different frameworks of getting our workforce ready for future skilling challenge. How do we do that? Just a little bit on how Skillsoft, the approach that we took in our company. Primarily, we work with, like I said, World Economic Forum. We do Burning Glass. We really create a skills taxonomy. This includes all the key future skills that your business is going to look out for. Once you have the skill taxonomy defined, you sort of know what your end goals are. Once those end goals are identified, we really have to make sure we do some objective assessments. You really have to make sure where each of your employee, where in the graph they are falling into. Are they initially into a entry level, mid-level, professional level? So it's very, very important you sort of rank and understand a graph of your whole organization. Once you have that understood, once you have the skill benchmark created, it's even more important to be able to have a curated personal learning path for each of those learners. The goal is to be able to get them from point A to point B. At Skillsoft, we create a lot of journeys that really take the learners all the way through. And like I said, it's very, very important. This skilling journey or this skilling framework just cannot be focused on business. It's even more important, it has to be learner-centric. Otherwise, it loses its whole effect. So you have to make sure how do you inspire your learners to be on track. We in Skillsoft, we create a lot of digital badges, engagement emails, goals, and reminders in our product solution to be able to inspire the learners. And what is more important, however much upskilling is important, it's even more important that we give them an opportunity to reskill. So we actually have a framework to be able to reinforce learning. That includes flashcards, that includes cert preparation, that includes recall, reflect, immediate, all of those. And what is more important is the last pillar of the framework. We have dashboards and insights to be able to help measure the skill gains that we made over a period. And that's the comprehensive skills framework that every one of the business really have to put in place to get your workforce future ready. The another piece that we talked about a little early on is you just cannot focus on the immediate on-demand skills. You have to be a little bit forward-looking, right? So all of your skilling, upskilling, reskilling have to be focused on the right in-demand talent and also in the fastest growing skills that's out there, the challenge you need to be ready to face. So we sort of break them into 2 different buckets, in-demand, ongoing, fast-growing challenges so that we have journeys to support learners into both of those categories. You cannot just ignore the whole tech and dev journey. Right? Technology, every single company out there, you may think or you may not think, we are in 2022, every single company is a technology company. We leverage technology whether to solve a key business problems, we may or may not, and all of these facades that goes around makes us all into a technology company. So when you look at your tech and dev journey, you really have to focus on the skilling on those 6 different areas. This was actually identified with all our research and analysis with burning skills to be able to come up with the 6 buckets that really have to have the investment around tech and dev journey. That includes the entire cloud and infrastructure, very critical, cyber security, even more critical, the data science and analytics, which is the top leading skill going to be for 2025, that every company have to be prepared, web development and programming, DevOps, the whole software crafting. That includes agile, PMO, and everything else behind that. And we also have to create a skills of future skills journey that includes everything else that we need to be able to support for future. And like I said, it's very, very important. You have to make skill building as a daily habit. It's very, very important. You have to have your user engagement. Otherwise, you lose them. There is no point in just investing all on the skilling when you really lose your end users or the learners. So at Skillsoft, we have launched a lot of those product suites that supports collaborative tools, playlists, badges, goals, and there is a lot of roadmap coming up that really focus on mindfulness, watch parties, digital batching, group sharing, user generation, gamification, and everything else. End goal is how do you really engage the learners? Before I close, I just want to leave this as a closing comment. When skills and passion really work together, expect magic to happen. And that's the focus, and that's the final thought I want to leave you with. I will repeat myself, are you future ready? And where are your investments going to be to get yourself future ready? I'm not a marketing guy, I'm an engineering by profession, but I still want to call out, I did talk about a lot of solutioning that we offer. We have a booth right there. We have all the experts out there that can help you take a deep dive on some of the solutioning. I look forward to talking to you. Happy skilling. Have a great day.